Now, for more on relations between India and Pakistan, I'm joined now by Raza Ahmad Rumi. He is a Pakistani policy analyst and the director of the Department of Journalism at Ithaca College. Raza, welcome.
Thank you.
So India and Pakistan obviously have had a long conflict in Kashmir, more than 70 years now. How does the violence we're seeing now compare to the past?
Well, this is a continuation of what has been going on in the held Kashmir. But obviously, the scale and the sort of drastic nature of this attack has obviously riled up the Indian government and the public opinion. And to sort of look the other way from how the Kashmiris are being treated in India, the entire blame has been shifted to Pakistan by the Indian government and the media, which is kind of echoing the same sentiment. The reality is, as the report was mentioning, that in Kashmir, there are hundreds of thousands of security personnel, and there have been gross violations of human rights reported every year. And the Indian government has to find a political solution to the long-standing issue of Jammu and Kashmir. And that may be the best way forward, not by ratcheting up war with Pakistan. Because so far, what we know is that the suicide bomber was a local Kashmiri young man. The explosive were also obtained locally. And while Pakistan has in the past supported such groups, there is no denying, but it is still, there is no concrete evidence for the war drumming up to be done in India. But I think the other imperative that is faced by the Indian government is that this is the election year, and Prime Minister Modi goes back to the ballot box in a few months. And if he doesn't react or do something, then obviously his opposition is going to say that he's a weak prime minister. So he's kind of forced to do something. But what? Because his options are very limited. Both countries are nuclear armed, and any small conflict can escalate into something really dangerous, not just for the region, but for the world.
And of
So
course, it's spilling over, if I can interrupt for a moment, not just from Kashmir. The violence is obviously spilling over into India. How dangerous is it to be a Muslim right now in India?
Well, definitely, since the BJP government came into power, it's not a stated policy of the government per se, but government ministers and the ruling party, officials have been inciting violence, mob lynchings, and other sort of anti-Muslim narratives that they build about purifying India and getting rid of its Muslim past. So that has obviously led to, heightened insecurity among the Muslims of that country. So I guess it is a perilous time. And instead of managing this situation, the ruling party and some sections of media have been very irresponsible and further inciting sort of hatred towards Kashmiris and Muslims in general. And it's not good for India either, because it has such a large number of Muslims who live there and are loyal Indians.
So tell me, long-term prospects of resolving this dispute, are there roles for both China and the United States in that effort, and what could that look like?
Well, absolutely. I think the way things are moving, the US and of course China have a role to play. The problem is that India does not accept or foreign mediation or outside mediation, because Pakistan and India entered a similar agreement in 1972, whereby they said they would solve all their disputes bilaterally. But given the situation, I think some backdoor diplomacy is urgently needed. And the Saudi prince was already in Pakistan, he just left. So he's going to India. One hopes that he will also sort of urge the Indian authorities to kind of find a diplomatic solution to this otherwise fastly, brewing situation that may escalate into something very dangerous.
Raza Ahmad Rumi, thanks so much for joining us on the broadcast. We appreciate your time and insight.